I absolutely love living here. I love it. I love the people. They are, as I said, they're straight talkers, but they're very, very good-hearted people, and they're great crack.
They're a fantastic community. They have done so much. There's a local community go around and cleans. They're brilliant from start to finish. Everyone's out to help you, you know. And it has been, as I said, it's been a great experience for us so far.
You have to aim at his face, do you? Have to be.
Yeah, kind of have to. I know it sounds terrible, but yeah.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's okay.
Whoa, splash it! But they had a strange way of dealing with the luggers in the winter time.
Yeah, well, there was no other way, like, you know, there was no booms in the harbour or that. They just took the plug out and let them sink.
They let them sink?
Let them sink, yeah.
The birth of this country that we live in really was an accident waiting to happen. Mind you, it had to wait an awful long time, because the country that we now know as Ireland used to be in two separate parts. And those two parts were on two different continents that were once thousands of miles apart, one to the north and the other closer to the South Pole. But continents move, ever so slowly, but they do move constantly. And those two continents had long been set on a path that would see them, between 400 and 500 million years ago, finally meeting in a head-on collision that simply could not have been averted. The result of that collision was the bringing together of the two halves of the beautiful country that we now live in. And this, the place that I'm in today, is where it happened. Welcome to Clogherhead in County Louth, the birthplace of Ireland. Geologists tell us there's a seam that runs across Ireland from Clogherhead all the way down to Limerick. And everything to the north of that seam once formed part of the ancient continent of Laurentia, which included the modern countries of Scotland, Greenland and North America, while everything to the south of that seam belonged to the continent of Avalonia, which included England and Wales. But of course, nothing in those days had a name, because all that was many millions of years before any geologists trod the earth. That's why we have geologists. Yes, the rocky headland of Clogher has been around the world and seen some sights, and so confronts the Irish Sea these days with a kind of unruffled composure, an air of finally settled permanence that long ago persuaded fishermen to see it as a safe place at which to moor their boats. I think Clogherhead's fishing harbour at Port Oriel lies to the north of that seam, but it matters little to the inhabitants of the modern village of Clogherhead whether they are Laurentians or Avalonians, because, as you'll discover, this is a community that thrives in being united in common purpose. A vibrant and welcoming community which has recently won a prestigious Pride of Place award. Winning such an award requires a kind of community cohesion that you don't achieve overnight, as Siobhan Faulkner will tell you. Siobhan is the very embodiment of that Pride of Place. She works tirelessly for the local development group, which in turn is greatly supported by a network of other local organisations whose praises she's constantly singing. The lifeboat crews, the ICA, the Tidy Towns, the Credit Union, the Fishermen's Co-op, the Dreadnoughts Gaelic Football Club, to name but a few. Siobhan's husband and son are both fishermen, though she herself grew up in a family with no direct involvement in fishing.
My father opened a shop. He had worked as a farm labourer, and then he worked in a factory, and then he decided then that he wanted to go out on his own. He built a little shop onto the side of the house, and I have to say it was a great way for me, because I met everybody. Because everybody came into it, like. But as well as that, he did all the parcels for the boats for them going out to sea, and you could get a call at 11 o'clock at night. I'll be in a half an hour. And you got the parcel together, and he'd get in the van and drop it out to the harbour.
The parcel being food?
The food for the boats, yeah.
Right.
So he supplied all the foods for most of the boats in the harbour at the time. And it was, they could ring it in from the big sets from the boats, and they'd tell you what they wanted, and then you just got it ready, and Daddy would drive out to the harbour and give it to them then. But it meant that everybody kind of in the village knew my mother and father, and then because we worked in the shops, we got to know an awful lot of people, so you got to know a wide spread of people in the village.
And that's something that you're trying to bring onto the, or keeping the place today, I suppose, really.
Yeah, it really is. Keep that sense of community, because Clogherhead was a very small fishing village and we have grown substantially. There's been an awful lot of housing here, and it's to try and get the new people that have come into the area. There's people from Dublin, there's people from Egypt, there's people from, you know, all over the world have come to live here, and it's to try and get them involved in the community and to feel part of our community.
To feel welcome.
Yeah, to feel, you know, that this is a place that wants them and we want their experiences and what we can learn from them. It's not about what we can give them always, it's about what they can give us as well and enrich our lives. That's what it's all about. Like.
And but it still has that lovely village feel about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the things you notice when you're driving through it, it's a pretty village. Well, the things I noticed, first of all, lovely colourful houses. Was that a little deliberate scheme as well?
It was, yeah. It was from the Clogherhead Development Group, because we were trying to brighten up the village, because it was kind of all creams and greys, and we were saying, like, on a grey day the village looked very grey. And we had a big meeting and we called it the Big Idea, and we got all the residents down and we showed them, we had pictures of what it could look like if you had all the different houses painted different colours, and they, I have to say, true to form, they really bought into it and they went for it, and it really has lifted the whole face of the village.
You're too successful. Can I tell you why? Because you've a lovely mural which depicts all sorts of different sea-going vessels, right?
Yeah.
And half of it's obscured by these beautiful flowers that are growing up as well. So I don't know, you have to make a decision here, get rid of the flowers and show up the mural or whatever.
In the summer we have the lovely flowers, and in the winter we have the lovely mural.
You have it both ways.
We have it both ways.
Now, this sense of community, responsibility, I think it seems to extend into the sea, because you have this brilliant scheme, I think, where they encounter litter at sea. They bring the litter that they find, they bring it back with them.
They bring it back, yeah. It's a scheme that was devised by BIM, Catherine Barrett and BIM, and she took 3 or 4 harbours in Clogherhead, because we have a man here, Oliver Curran, who used to be a fisherman, but he now works with pilot boats, but he's very, very much involved in conservation and in the tidy towns. And he got involved with Catherine in the fishing for waste, and what they do, anything they catch in their nets, they bring it in. And then the development group, through Oliver, they sort through them. And then anything that can be recycled is recycled. And then BIM take away the litter. We have to keep a record, because they want to see what's being caught and what's being brought in.
And is there a lot of stuff being brought in?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an awful lot of stuff being brought in. I think we took 12 tonnes of litter out of the sea.
12 tonnes?
Yeah.
So this calls for a kind of a change of mindset?
It absolutely calls for a total change of mindset. What we're doing now is, with BIM and Oliver, they have brought another scheme, because we were fishing for litter. Now we have the scheme for Bring It Home.
Bring It Home.
So all the fishing boats that are here, they don't throw anything out at sea, they bring all their rubbish at home. Because we have 2 blue flag beaches either side of this headland, and we want to keep them blue flag beaches. If we don't take care of our natural resource, then it won't provide us with a living.
Right.
You know, so we have to take care of what provides us. It's the same, like, I mean, farmers look after their land, we have to look after our sea.
The wide open spaces of those blue flag beaches are great playgrounds for children of all ages. There are 2 structures facing each other where the bottom of the village meets the strand. One is concerned with saving lives at sea, more of which anon, and the other is a lifesaver for parents on land, because the seaside is never boring when you can participate in one of Dave Reddy's Celtic adventures. Go-karting, archery, kayaking, ball games, weird games, team-building games, and just plain fun games. Dave is a Dublin man married to a local woman, and has only in recent years decided to locate his outdoor pursuits enterprise here at Clogherhead. What has convinced him that he's made an excellent decision is not only the place itself, but also the people.
I love it up here, absolutely love it. It's a much more relaxed pace of life, and it's a much more calm setting for life.
This is a place that makes you feel very welcome. The community
Absolutely.
here go out of their way to make people
absolutely.
feel welcome.
When we originally kind of came up with the idea of taking over the centre here, we only moved in here last June, July direction. The community have been behind us 110%. They have been absolutely fantastic to help us make sure everything goes according to plan. Anything we need. I mean, even at nighttime security, we have ladies just at the back here who, anytime the alarm went off, she'd be on the phone to us straight away. So they're a fantastic community. They have done so much. There's a local community go around and cleans. They're brilliant from start to finish. Everyone's out to help you, you know, and it has been, as I said, it's been a great experience for us so far.
Well, you're probably good for the local economy because you're bringing people in here to the place.
I hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole idea.
Well, I mean, it is one of those places. It's a little hub. It's a thriving little hub. Given the right circumstances, it can flourish. And with bus tours coming through in bits and pieces, and we can add to the town, it helps everybody, you know.
Okay, so activities I've seen so far that the evidence out in the beach anyway. You have the archery. You have the, as I say, that funny game with the ropes and the balls, whatever it is, sort of obstacle things. And then you have the go-karts, and you have all the water-based sports then as well. You're kayaking and the canoeing.
And then we have climbing, coasting, we've a vast array of activities. Now we've grown that over the last 4.5 years, to kind of keep on adding. This year now we'll add even more again. So it's a continuously growing
You have to
business,
keep yourself fairly fit to do all those activities as well, or to show other people how to do them.
I've 5 kids. I'm fairly.
But the other thing you need, I noticed, with school kids particularly, right, you need 2 things. You need a good loud voice, a good assertive voice, and you need plenty of patience as well, of course.
You need bucketfuls.
Bucketfuls.
But I mean, we're lucky enough. I mean, it's one of these things we enjoy it. We have great fun with it. Depending on what age, it doesn't matter. But when they come down, from the minute they get here, we make sure they're entertained. It's easy for us.
Chaos is ensuing slightly.
Yes, a happy kind of chaos reigns on the Strand, while over on the other side of the headland at Port Oriel Harbour, all is calm, well-ordered and shipshape. That's the way Paddy Hodgins would have wanted it in his day, but his day is long past. The memories of a former harbour master, when we come back. A monument in the grounds of St Michael's Church gives eloquent testimony to the kind of sacrifices the sea demanded of those who would master it. But this list of names would be much longer had it not been for the actions of the Clogherhead lifeboat crews over many years of valiant service. This is the only lifeboat in the country, incidentally, that has to be launched by tractor across the Strand. A tractor that's maintained in the same meticulous condition as the lifeboat itself. But this is where those lifeboat crews learnt their trade, here at the harbour at Port Oriel. Still a thriving fishing port whose skippers have learnt to adapt to changing times and changing catches. Paddy Hodgins, now in the late 80s, has lived through many of those changes. Paddy was harbour master here for much of the second half of the 20th century, carrying on a proud family tradition of involvement with fishing, shipping, lifeboat volunteering, and in his grandfather's case, piloting boats in and out of Drogheda back in the sailing days of the late 1800s. I would venture to say that if Paddy has any regrets about his career, it might be to do with the fact that the splendid harbour pier that you now see in Clogherhead is not the one that he inherited when he became harbour master back in the year 1950.
Well, when I started, we were only a small pier. It was only 100 yards of a pier, and it was just due north. It was very exposed to the weather. And the boats then in the inner harbour here, there was booms, you know what booms are? You used to drop the booms to break the sea.
Well, today is a relatively calm day, a very calm
Oh,
day.
it is
fact,
very
right?
calm, yes.
But that sea can turn onto...
It could turn nasty from the northeast or easterly, or just it could turn northerly or northeast and easterly wind, yes.
So the wee pier that you used to have...
We used to have was all exposed, but this one now is more sheltered, yes.
But it took you a long while to get the new one.
It took us a long time to get it. We were looking for it from way back in when I started in 1950.
Right.
We were looking for a new harbour, and there was no money, but then with the EEC we got the money for it.
So when you took over, did you regard it as one of your main aims to get this new harbour?
Well, yes. Yeah, we looked forward to that, and we got it eventually.
Yeah.
2005.
I think there's a story I heard somewhere that you had a photographer down one day to take a shot of how bad the pier. There's a hole in the pier.
Yeah, the old pier got an awful battering in 1984. There was a bad storm and it got an awful battering. And I think it was the month of February, the photographer was coming to show how bad the thing was, you know. So I said, it's too bad to go down, too bad, it's not safe. So then he said, will we chance it? So we chanced it. So then this big sea came across and nearly swept us over the wall.
Did he get a shot of it at least?
We did, he got a shot of it, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So that might have been the last photograph he ever took, in other words, right? But it was dangerous, seriously, Paddy. It would have been dangerous.
Yeah, well, it could be dangerous. You could be washed over like there was. Yeah.
And did that restrict the kind of fishing?
Oh,
and
yes.
the number of boats.
There'd be no fishing. Once the wind would go easterly or southeast or northeast, there'd be no fishing, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because the boats were only 50-foot boats that time, wooden boats, you know.
Wooden boats.
But now we have massive trawlers now, you know.
Yeah. They had a strange way of dealing with the luggers in the winter time.
Yeah, well, there was no other way, like, you know, there was no booms in the harbour or that. They just took the plug out of them and let them sink.
They let them sink?
Let them sink, yeah.
They deliberately sank?
Oh, deliberately sank, and then when the tide would go out, the water would run out of them, and tide come in, it would fill and sink them, yes, yeah.
And then at the end
but
of that...
it didn't last because it wasn't good for the boats.
I wouldn't imagine so.
No, it wasn't good. No.
But that was to stop them, what, getting bashed up against the walls?
Yeah, the one that was settled on the bottom, well, yes. Yeah.
In a way. And then when the good weather came back again, they took them out and
dried them up
out.
and started fishing from April right down to October or November, yes.
Yeah. Would that have been common practice all over the coast?
Oh no, I think it was only
here?
It was only here, you know, because it was so exposed here and there was no booms around, you know.
At the same time, fishing was really the only, or one of the very few employments.
Well, that's it. It was the main business here in Clogherhead, fishing and farming, yes.
Farming.
Yes.
Yes, there's plenty of good farming land around the village, and over the centuries, many local families have been able to supplement their income by growing crops or raising livestock. But their location on the coast of the Erie Sea has meant that first and foremost, the people of Clogherhead have made their living by harvesting fish from the sea. But the sea can also provide a different kind of harvest. Just across the bay from Port Oriel Harbour, and premises which he shares with a fish packing business, John Delaney operates an enterprise which uses as its raw material one of the most abundant natural resources in the world, seawater. John was aware that for centuries along this coast, fishermen preserved their fish by salting it. And all he wanted to do initially was to find energy-efficient ways to extract the salt from the seawater. That he managed to achieve, but in doing so, he discovered things about the byproducts of that process, particularly magnesium and potassium. On the benefits of magnesium and its effects on the cardiovascular system, on stem cell generation, on the skin and a host of other organs and functions, John Delaney will hold forth passionately. Oriel Sea products now have a European PDO, a protected designation of origin, which means that they can only come from here. And here means a place that is, of course, unique.
There's an interesting thing about Clogherhead, which we say in our website, it all started 400 million years ago,
yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So there's tectonic clash, and there are fossils found in the head of Clogherhead that are found in parts of the States, right. You know, when the two continents originally merged. Right. So the water that comes in here is the North Atlantic stream that comes in, and we get a very pure, strong seawater, and it's continuous, so it's pretty good. Where we are, there's no industry beside us.
Right.
So except the fishermen, and that's a pretty heavy industry, but there's no waste product.
So that's, in other words, you don't produce anything.
No. So there's nothing to pollute where we are.
So you take a little bit of that seawater in.
We take the seawater in and we filter it.
And you came at this from a food industry background,
yes,
rather than a pure science background. Is that the case?
Pure, we were looking for a good salt. And a good salt was a sea salt. And we were in the past we looked at doing curing meats. And curing product with salt and with sea salt. But we came along this product. It was my wife actually who said, "Look at this sea salt," you know. And Patricia's always good on ideas. And we just started looking at it in a different fashion. We had been using it in the past for other products, and we looked at the thing that stopped us on doing sea salt here initially was the cost of production. Right. And so we had to come up with a system that was energy efficient. So we travelled the world quite a bit to come up with a system to suit the environment that we're in now. So it had to be energy efficient. Number one. It had to be eco-friendly because we're here and the good people of Clogherhead
These
are
fishermen
happy
trust
that
you not to
they
interfere
trust
with
us.
their water.
Yes, and we're very conscious of that. We believe that as part of the ethos of the company, we want to look after the environment we're in.
Sure.
But then, apart from that, we want to make money out of it, because if we can't make money out of it, we can't have these wonderful aspirations.
I see.
And we want to do that. And also, I suppose, the fourth thing, important, we want to be proud of it.
Right.
I'm proud of what we can do. I'm proud of the area we're in.
Well, you're getting there on 3 of those at least. Isn't that it? You still have the money, but
The money bit is the money bit is the thing. But
well, you're obviously proud of what you have achieved.
yeah,
so
no,
far.
we're very happy.
Yeah.
You know. Everything that we take in here, you know, we don't waste anything. If we take in 100 gallons or 100 litres of water, we use 95% of it, and the water that we take the salt and we take everything else out. If we're left with other pure water, we use it for our evaporation, for our boilers. And
So to sum up, you started off wanting to make salt.
yes,
And you found that the byproducts of that whole process of making salt were every bit as interesting and valuable potentially.
absolutely,
as the salt
it's
itself.
intriguing. You know, it's every day is quite exciting, I suppose, when we come here, because we've got a group of guys here and we just work on stuff and we say, hey, look what's just happened, you know. And it's every day is something different, and we're finding ways of refining our process a little bit and keeping our costs. We've continuous monitoring of everything that we do, and we record everything to see how can we improve it.
Right. And every day is potentially a new discovery, really.
Yes, it is. And we're the first Irish company since 1999 to get PDO status. And we have it for both our salt and for the minerals.
The minerals as well.
Magnesium and the magnesium-based products help people to relax.
Yeah.
They help people to relax.
You take them yourself, do you?
I do. Am I relaxed?
You come across quite relaxed to me now, I have to say.